Welcome to VLSI Design Lecture Series. In today's lecture video, I'll be discussing about RC delay model. RC delay model approximates the nonlinear transistor current voltage and CV characteristics with an average resistance and capacitance over the switching range of the gate. The points which we are going to discuss in today's class are: we'll be discussing about effective resistance, gate and diffusion capacitance, equivalent RC circuits, Helmholtz delay, and finally we'll be discussing about layout dependence of capacitance. Let us first discuss about effective resistance. The RC delay model treats a transistor as a switch in series with a resistor. The effective resistance is the ratio of VDS to IDS averaged across the switching interval of interest. As we already know, according to Ohm's law, V is equal to I into R, or R is equal to V divided by I. So the effective resistance with respect to our MOSFET will be the ratio of drain to source voltage to drain to source current. If we consider an NMOS transistor, we consider it has an effective resistance of R. Similarly, a PMOS transistor has a greater resistance when compared to NMOS because the mobility of holes is lesser than the mobility of electrons. Hence, the PMOS transistor is approximated to a resistor range from 2R to 3R. According to long channel model, the current decreases linearly with channel length, and hence resistance increases with respect to channel length. Hence, we can come to a conclusion that the resistance is directly proportional to channel length L. Let us focus upon what exactly is meant by this gate and diffusion capacitance. Each transistor also has gate and diffusion capacitance. We assume C to be the gate capacitance of a unit transistor of either NMOS transistor or PMOS transistor. A transistor of K times unit width has a capacitance of K multiplied by C. Diffusion capacitance also depends upon the size of source and drain regions of the MOSFET. Whether it might be a P-channel MOSFET or it might be an N-channel MOSFET, the diffusion capacitance depends on the size of source and drain regions. So let us have a look at how the NMOS transistor and PMOS transistor can be modeled using both resistors as well as capacitors. First, let us focus on P-channel MOSFET. If you observe, a P-channel MOSFET consists of three major terminals. Here for theoretical purpose, we consider three terminals: source terminal, drain terminal, and gate terminal. In addition to this, we have body or substrate, which is not shown in this particular symbolic representation. If we observe the equivalent RC circuit of this P-channel MOSFET, we have the same three terminals: gate terminal, source as well as drain terminal. Here gate and drain terminals are interchanged. Drain and source terminals are interchanged. That will happen in MOSFET. We can interchange source as well as drain terminals. Three terminals are there: gate terminal, source terminal, and drain terminal. As I already told you, the resistance of P MOSFET is normally equivalent to 2R to 3R. Hence, we consider 2R divided by K, where K is nothing but width. We have three capacitances: gate capacitance, drain capacitance, and source capacitance. If we observe, the other terminal of this capacitors are connected to an voltage source VDD, constant voltage source VDD. Because in PMOS, the source terminal is always connected to higher potential, logic level 1 or VDD, because it forms a pull-up network. So this is how we model a PMOS transistor or PMOSFET using its equivalent resistance and capacitance values. Similarly, let us focus upon the second variant of MOSFET, N-channel MOSFET. As I told you, there are three terminals with respect to the MOSFET, which we consider theoretically: source, drain, and gate terminals. Along with this, one more terminal body is there, which is not shown in this symbolic representation. Equivalent modeling of this N-channel MOSFET using resistors and capacitors is as shown. If we observe, along with a switch, there is a resistor having a resistance of R, and this K indicates the width of the MOSFET. We have three capacitances: gate, source, and drain capacitances. And if we observe, the other terminals of the N-channel MOSFET capacitors, which are connected to three regions, gate, source, and drain regions, are connected to logic level 0. The reason why they are connected to logic level 0 is N-channel MOSFET is called as pull-down network. The source of N-channel MOSFET normally be connected to the logic level 0. Hence, we connect the other terminal of, when we model the NMOS transistor, we connect the other terminal of the capacitor to logic level 0, that is the ground. The PMOS transistor has approximately twice the resistance of NMOS transistor because holes have lower mobility when compared to electrons. The above figure shows an equivalent RC circuit models for both NMOS as well as PMOS transistors of width K. The PMOS transistor, as I told you, has approximately twice the resistance of NMOS transistor because holes have lower mobility when compared to electrons. Now let us consider an example of an inverter, and based on that, let us try to model the inverter using resistors and capacitors. It looks somewhat similar to this. If we observe, we have considered an inverter. Output of one of the inverter is fed as input to the other inverter. We are using two inverters here. This is nothing but a buffer circuit. We have considered this as an example. Let us model this particular inverter, the capacitor as well as resistors of this particular first inverter up till this, from this point A up till this point Y. If we observe, the inverter is composed of an NMOS transistor of unit size and a PMOS transistor of twice unit width to achieve equal rise and fall times, equal rise and fall resistances. In figure 2, in this particular second figure, if we observe, this particular figure gives an equivalent circuit. If input A rises, the NMOS transistor will be on and PMOS transistor will be off. And if input A goes down, or if input A is 0, the NMOS transistor will be off and PMOS transistor will be on. That is the operation of inverter. The top and bottom capacitors with respect to VDD and ground are usually neglected because they are not switching. They are connected to a constant supply, either VDD or ground. Hence, they are not considered. And figure 3 indicates the equivalent capacitance as well as resistance of inverter. So if we observe the second figure over here, we have two MOSFETs which are modeled. One is PMOS, one more is NMOS with its equivalent resistance values. And we have two capacitors with respect to PMOS transistors which has been modeled. One is the source capacitance, one more is the drain capacitance. Source capacitance has the value of 2C. Drain capacitance is also modeled with the value of 2C because we have considered that the width of PMOS is twice that of NMOS. Similarly, we have considered an NMOS with its equivalent resistance value, and we have considered two capacitors. One is the drain capacitor, one more is a source capacitor. Because NMOS has unit width, we have just considered C here. And if we observe, the PMOS capacitors are always connected to constant voltage source VDD. NMOS capacitors are always connected to a constant supply, logic 0. In addition to this, when the output is being driven from the inverter, first inverter, the output Y also touches the second inverter gate inputs of both PMOS as well as NMOS. Hence, we have considered those two capacitors as well with respect to gate terminal, gate capacitance of PMOS2 and gate capacitance of NMOS2. This entire capacitances or capacitors forms output capacitance. We normally neglect the top source capacitance with respect to PMOS and the bottom source capacitance of NMOS because they are connected to a constant voltage source. The source capacitance of PMOS is connected to a constant voltage source called as VDD, and the source capacitance of NMOS is connected to a constant voltage supply called as ground. Because they do not switch, because these capacitances do not switch or they are non-switching capacitances, they are irrelevant for our modeling. Hence, we normally neglect these two. And when we consider the other switching capacitances, if we observe there is a drain capacitance with respect to PMOS here and drain capacitance with respect to NMOS here, drain regions are always switching. They switch from logic level 0 to logic level 1 and from logic level 1 to logic level 0 constantly. And similarly, because the output is connected to the gate inputs of second PMOS and second NMOS, even these two capacitors are switching capacitors. So these capacitors are our area of interest here. Hence, the output capacitance is a summation of these four capacitances, 2C plus 2C plus C plus C, which amounts to 6C. So this is how we model inverter, a simple inverter in its equivalent resistance and capacitance circuit form. In addition to this, in today's lecture video, let us also understand what exactly is meant by this Elmos delay. In general, most of the circuits of interest can be represented as an RC tree, resistance capacitance tree. That is, an RC circuit with no loops. We normally consider the root of the tree is the voltage source and the leaves are capacitors at the end of the branches. According to Elmos delay, the formula for the propagation delay is TPD is the summation of RIS and CI, where TPD is the propagation delay, RIS is the resistance on the shared path, CI is the capacitance on the node. The same thing is represented out here. TPD is the propagation delay, RIS is the resistance on the shared path, CI is the capacitance of the node. So this is one more delay model called as Elmos delay model. The delay can be estimated by using this formula, which is shown on the screen. And finally, let us understand layout dependence of capacitance. In a good layout, diffusion nodes are shared wherever possible to reduce the diffusion capacitance. The uncontacted diffusion nodes between series transistors are usually smaller than those that must be contacted. Such uncontacted nodes have lesser capacitance and contacted nodes have more capacitance. A normal conservative method of estimating capacitance before layout is to assume uncontacted diffusion between series transistors and contacted diffusions on all other nodes. The same thing is explained in this particular diagram. In this particular layout diagram, if we observe, there is a shared diffusion contact over here, and there is a merged uncontacted diffusion here. Here, the diffusion is uncontacted, whereas here, the diffusion is contacted. Always, one thing which we have to remember when it comes to RC delay model, especially the capacitance effect, capacity capacitance effect is uncontacted nodes always have lesser capacitance when compared to contacted nodes. So whenever we are designing any kind of layout, we try to minimize the number of contacts. Always we try to maintain uncontacted nodes because they have less capacitance. Contacted nodes we will try to minimize the contacted nodes. As a design engineer, It is a duty of the design engineer to minimize the contacted nodes as far as possible. I hope that you have understood RC delay model. Thank you.